Well, good morning.
Hello, hello. Happy Sunday.
I'm Joshua Agan, also Joshua James because of my new current husband. And this is Amber Fields.
What up?
Amber is one of my, I don't even know how to describe you. How do I describe you?
You're my brother from another mother.
I know, that's right. We have had the opportunity to get to know each other over, what now, almost
2 years.
Yeah. And just fallen in love with each other. And the mechanism in which we fell in love was in the world of leadership and personal growth, but primarily spirituality. And since the moment we first met, there was just a knowingness that we would be doing something similar to this together at some point. And I think it really just took kind of the journey of getting to this point to evolve us, not only to understand each other fully, but to take the spiritual stalking that we've been going through and finally just be like, okay, it's time. We have to just do something in action and get the energy moving around this idea. So this is the first episode of The Truth Revival.
Whoop whoop!
The Truth Revival's sole intention really is to kind of debunk some of the assumptions or negativity that people carry around the personal growth world, spirituality, communication, relationships, love, understanding God, or even in not understanding God, I think is really the biggest component.
Judgment on your journey.
Ooh, that's a big one. I'm gonna need that tattoo. And so it's just, I think the time is right, and it's led her and I to sit down and get intentional around sharing not only our knowledge, but sharing our questions, sharing our relationship. And I think there's a lot to really look forward to in the coming months. Already this month, we have a couple of interviews coming up, one of which we are mad excited about, and we'll do the release on that. I'm not going to give too much away too soon. But let's do, why don't you just take a moment and kind of explain to people who you are, why you love the world of personal growth, and kind of how you've come to where you are.
Yeah. So for me, this opportunity is about you, actually. Because without connection and without the opportunity to be connected to another human person, my journey wouldn't make much sense. You know, throughout my personal growth and development, and I've always been open, right? Like I've always known that I have a reason to be put on this earth and I have gifts. But without the personal connection and meeting the people, I didn't have the guidance or the strength or the courage to take the first next step. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I appreciate the personal connections that I've made, and everybody that I've met has kind of poured into or taken from, right? Because some people will take away, and allowed me to get to where I am today. And for me, it's about how can I help you achieve that too? How can I help you take the first step into what's next for you? What does that look like? Who are you supposed to be? Who are you meant to be? You know, and do you have the right people around you to ascend there, to go there? And for me, it was about personal growth and development and discovery and being open to what was possible for me and my family. I have 5 amazing kids. I've been married for 16 years to the love of my life. If you're watching, you already know. I get emotional about it because I wouldn't even get to...
You got me going. I'm like, we can't go here yet.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have had the opportunity. So I owe a lot to that man, you know, because he has always seen into my greatness, and he was the actual, besides my mom and dad, right, to see right into who I was as a person and to always pour into belief. You know, we did a valve renewal, which you were there back last year, and my dad joked, he was like, man, you are such the guy, because every crazy thing that she's ever wanted to do, you have been in support of. So I just have to give it to him because he does. He wraps his head around it and he says, all right, how do we get there? And so I'm super thankful that he encouraged me to be here with you and to be on this journey. And who knows what? Like at the end of the day, I just want to help people be better versions of themselves and get done in life what you want to get done and do it freely, authentically, without apologizing for it.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going there, then I've got to give some love too.
Yes.
I share that with you, man. It's like my husband just takes all of my craziness and all of my uncertainty and my confusion, and he takes my past experiences and he sees them for pieces of who I am or pieces that have created me, and still sees the greatness in me when I am not feeling great about myself. And so I think it's really important to have people in our world like that. Also, that was not my story for a very long time.
Right.
And it was not your story for some time too.
Right.
So speak into that a little bit. Like inside of getting intentional and inside of being in action and making the decision, okay, the greatness of my life is solely a reflection of my decision to have a great life. So when you made the decision to step into this work and when you made the decision that you wanted to elevate, what did your world look like in the beginning of that?
Oh man. Okay, so we're gonna go super vulnerable this morning because that's where I was. I was in a raw place in life. I was a mom and I was a wife, and that was all that I knew how to do. I was college educated, but I didn't know where to go because I'd chosen a different path. You know, I wasn't going to be the television news anchor that I thought I was going to be because I chose my family over doing that. I had lost all sense of who I was as a woman. And so I met a great guy. He introduced me to some amazing personal growth and development work, and that allowed for me to see me for the first time. And we were broke. We were at loss. My husband's mother had passed away. My grandfather had died. So many of these important people in our lives were gone that spoke into our greatness, that gave us the strength to continue to move on, and were mentoring us that were gone. And so we were in discovery, not just as a couple, but as individuals. And when you're in discovery, a lot of couples divorce because of that, because they can't figure out how to bring it together. And so I afforded my husband the same opportunity to go through the personal growth and development. And I shared with him the vision that I had for our life, right? Like, I don't want to live a mediocre life anymore. I don't want to wake up every day and feel like life is a have to.
Yeah.
And that's where we were. And on the other side of it, which we'll talk more about, you know, over this journey, I won't get too far into the weeds with it. It is a beautiful story. And I am just appreciative of the fact that he was willing to go there with me. And I had people in my life that were willing to be there and support and, pick us up when we were broken, love on us. And really for me, the biggest thing was love. There were so many people that wrapped their arms like a community. At my vow renewal, I was trying to explain to people that there was probably 130 people in the room, and I just couldn't put into words. It takes a community, it takes a village, and had we not had those people, this marriage would not exist. And in a world where divorce is the first thing that goes, right? I can't make it work with you because all I can see is the bad. I'm going to go out on the other side and try to find something better than you, instead of looking into the heart of the other human and saying, what if I could see past all of the things in our past and bring forward what is possible?
Okay, so I love that. And I've shared a similar experience. And for me, I know exactly what it was. So I'm wondering for you, how were you able to do that? What did you realize about yourself that was keeping the wall there?
Ooh. That I was worthy. Because
I need you to say that one more time.
Because I was worthy. Because I am worthy.
That's right.
Worthy. Man, so many people in this world, my husband included, we struggle with worthiness. And it comes from, you know, you were born as a gift to this world. You were born with an opportunity to have faith that you mean more than what the world says that you are. And for years and years and years, you get feedback, right? People tell you about yourself all the time. And all you hear is the negative feedback because you feel like you need to fix something about yourself. And so I was to the point where I just felt so not worth, I'm going to try not to like boohoo all over your couch, but like I just felt like I did not deserve all of the good things that God had coming for me. And I'm I'm a, faith-based girl, and I prayed and I believed, but it wasn't enough for me. I was too much in my own head. I was too much in my way to even hear what he was trying to say to me. Mm-hmm. And so it was really that.
Yeah. I think for me, it was my expectations around people. Yes. And I didn't even know that I was carrying them, and I still carry them, right? But what I get to do now is, as my journey evolves and as I become more clear as to the man that I want to be, I have to recognize first that the man I want to be, I'm probably never going to actually reach that level of greatness, because I have myself like underneath the feet of Jesus. Like, I want to be the best man I could possibly be at all times. The reality is that it's just not real. It's just not real. We're souls having a human experience, and we come with also the filters and the dilution of our exterior world. Mm-hmm. But I think the journey really is how quickly we can go from fear-based feelings and scarcity and return to love. Right. And when I place expectations on people, places, things, my personal experiences, where I want to go, my past, but project those fears I have for myself onto other people because I'm afraid of the way that they're going to show up in my world, I limit the possibility of their greatness. Oh. Expectations are, it's cancer. It's a disease. And so now, as I begin to evolve, I have recognized that my comeback rate to love, my comeback rate to lessening those expectations gets quicker and quicker and quicker. So it's not about not being flawed. Like, let's be flawed. Let's make mistakes, because from those mistakes we grow in a way that, I mean, they say that experiences is the greatest wisdom. So let's be as flawed as possible. I say step into fear. I say step into the scary. I say step into the uncertainty. Step into the desires that you keep quiet. Be big and bold inside of the scariness, and lean into your heart and focus on love.
And be with people, and not to cut you off, but be with the people who speak into your greatness. Find your tribe and find those group of people that when you start getting into unworthiness, and when you start getting into those places where it doesn't feel like you're living your best self, they're going to bring you back up, and they're going to help you remember who you are. Joshua, one of the things that I feel so drawn to you and your husband about is that when I forget, sometimes it's quite frequently, you remind me. I walk into your house, I walk into your beingness, and you help, and no, without words, you just remind me of who I am, and I appreciate that, and that's who we want to be for you, right? Like, when I think of God's greatest gifts is that the human connection will allow for you to see yourself in each other. Mm-hmm. And that's how you picked Mikey. That's how I picked Danny. For those of you in the outside world, Daniel. But those are your tribe is who helps remember when you can't, mm-hmm. when the world has told you that you are not good enough to be a part of what is great in this life. And so I love that you were vulnerable in sharing your expectations. We all have them, but we're all chipping away at the Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Right? And so one of the things I want you to appreciate is where you are, and where you are right now in your journey. People are going to judge you. People are going to say crazy things. And one of the greatest freedoms for me is sitting in where I am in my journey right now and not knowing, like I feel something welling up inside of me, but I'm not there yet, and being so appreciative of where I'm at in my journey and sitting in the freedom of just knowing that there is something good and great on the other side of tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you feel like now that you are a little more seasoned inside of this work, that you don't have the same resistance to controlling everything?
Oh man. Control.
And how has control shown up for you? Just quick, you can just...
It's crippling.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What mechanisms has control shown up for you?
Oh, I'm the boss of everything. Like, I make all the decisions. And a lot of times, this sounds crappy coming out of my mouth, but I thought that my way was the only way.
Oh, girl, I shared that 150%.
Right, like it looks like this for you or for me, and so therefore you should do it my way because it's what works. Of course it's what worked for me. Like 15,000 times later, right? Like but for others, that it just doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
And so you got to step back and let it be their idea. Let them ask the right questions, but not be in control of the scenario, the situation of what it looks like. Control for me is toxic.
Yeah, control for me has caused the people in my world to show up in an inauthentic way. So when I feel like I'm getting the results that I want, or I feel like I'm doing the next best thing, I'm doing what's right, but really it's just my fear triggering my control, which then dilutes the truest experience, right? And I think real grace and real compassion is when we step back and just hold a big open space for people to do, say, be, have everything that is natural to them. We get a truer sense of who this person is. Are they good for our world? Is it a give-give? Is it a win-win? Is it am I willing to show up and allow this person to have my energy and be okay with not receiving as much back? We get more of a space to be able to witness and decipher if the relationships in our world, or if the experiences that we're having are worth it to us. If it's elevating my highest good, I get to show up in my highest good, which only allows me to be able to show up in a much bigger way for people. I can give more love. I can give more of my genuine nature, right? And have conversations like this. Have these vulnerable, transparent reality checks with people who matter in my world, you know? And that wasn't the case for me always. When I got sober for the first time in 2015, I was a alcoholic and drug addicted and confused, and my business had suffered. I mean, my family didn't want me around. It was just really bad, and I had to revisit those painful experiences again. And I've only been able to expand, and because I got intentional around having the tribe and having the people in my world that care deeply for me, my comeback rate was, one, quicker, and two, didn't pain me in the same way. And because I had moments of clarity of extracting whatever it was that was holding me back, when I went back to the drinking and had a relapse, it was much faster because I knew how good life could be. And I still had those people around me reminding me how good life could be. And I felt disconnected. So I believe that experiences take away the alcohol and the drugs, take away the mechanism. I think we all have things that cause us to be in separation, right? Social media, is the biggest one. I think food, I think buying, I think gambling, I think, it's these obsessions that we have where we're reaching into our outer world. I might still be struggling with that one.
Remember, we're flawed.
And joyfully so. Listen, it's reaching into our outer world to try to mute the pain, to mute the confusion, to mute the uncertainty, right? So if you were speaking to you back in the day, what, and I don't like coulda, shoulda, wouldas, right? What would be the advice you would give the you or other people who could relate to some of the things that we're talking about? What would you have them do as a first step? Because I also believe that reaching out and having a tribe is not enough. We have to be full and exploring this part of us, right? My heart and my soul, and really kind of getting the ins and outs. So looking back, what would you say?
Before I do that, I want to make sure that this is interactive, guys. So if you have questions...
Oh my gosh.
Yes, so if you have questions, if you want to interact with us, please post the questions and say the stuff, and we'll address it on here. Dennis, Tawana, I knew that we would see you guys on here.
They're not in Aruba.
Yes, they're celebrating Dennis's 50th birthday, but they're hanging out with us on a Sunday morning.
He looks much older than 50. Just saying.
We love you, Dennis. He's lying. It's so not true.
I know. He's so beautiful. It's like obnoxious. And then he finds Tawana. Okay, this isn't your show. Get off our show.
So for me, my first step was finding spirituality.
Okay.
Right? Seeking something outside of myself and believing in something bigger than me. I needed to know, so the release of my heart to let go of the burdens. And from a very young age, I took everything so, I'm gonna say it on social media, so damn seriously. Like, I was so serious all the time. But it was because I wanted to get things done, and I wanted to help people, and I hurt when other people hurt. But hurt people. And so when I'm in pain, I'm out, causing pain in other people. And so I had to find a way to release the heavy burdens of this world. And for me, it was God, right? For me, it was Jesus Christ, and being able to just take my stuff away so that I could focus on the people in front of me and be open to new opportunities and meeting new people to help with taking away the pain and filling it up with love. Right? And I'm into this, so we don't care what your spirituality is. I'm open to what it looks like, right? Because it's different for everybody. And my thing is, I hope you have some, because we just weren't meant to bear the burden of all of the things that happen to us in this life. And for me, without faith, I wouldn't even know how to get up in the morning. I wouldn't even know how to get up and take on the day, because I'm just not strong enough, courageous enough, big enough without having somebody upstairs to pull off the stuff so I can focus on the now. Focusing on your gifts, my gifts, other people's gifts. That is what I would, and I found it early. I had people in my life that were willing to share that with me, but I've learned so much on that journey. I was one of those devout Baptist Christians that had it looking a certain way. And today I just don't. Today I am in respect and full. I believe that love is the premise of all spirituality and faith. And while it is one way for me, it may not be that way for you. And I'm in discovery. Tell me about that. Tell me what that looks like, and tell me how I can help you achieve your greatest ascension possible.
That's right. And it's really cool speaking into faith. And you'll hear us talk a lot about spirituality and faith, and we'll use different descriptive words to kind of tie in the essence of the God of our understanding in that topic of content. So you might hear us say love or energy or the universe, or she may just profoundly say Jesus Christ, or we might say God, or it is our belief that we're all celebrating the same thing. So if we can unify inside of that and have some of our own differences, there's no one right or wrong way. I believe I have mine, you have yours. Right. But what's really cool is I was watching a docuseries, and it's called Who is God, or What is God? And they were actually taking brain scans and pinpointing where faith lives in the brain. And they were scanning the brains of Islamic people and Jewish people and Christians and people who had just a faith in something that was bigger, right? And it was the exact same location with the same extravagant light up inside of the brain. So my faith is just as relevant as your faith.
That's right.
As somebody with a Muslim background or a Jewish background, faith is faith. As long as you have something and understanding that we are one with
each other.
Each other is that's a huge one.
Something bigger than us.
That's right.
Right, and what that something bigger looks like. We're interested in finding out what that looks like for you, and utilizing it to continuously be in discovery of who you were meant to be, ascending and moving forward in life. That's really the biggest thing for me. When you talk about revival, right? The revival of the heart, revival of what's true for you. And sharing a little bit of our journeys and how we got there, but the biggest thing for me is how can you be inspired to do that for you, and how can we help facilitate that? Yeah,
I think spirituality is probably one of the foggiest places for most, right? I'm still clear in the fog. I'm still experiencing myself inside of new ways of being, in deeper senses of connection with the God of my understanding. I'm still clearing out the fog of mimicking the behavior of a man who has a faith in God, who is compassionate and empathetic and generous, and also standing in my power and my truth and my worthiness, and knowing that boundaries are healthy, and healthy relationships only come when I have a healthy boundary with what I'm willing to take, right? So let's talk about that really quickly. And just for future reference, this is in this first episode, we wanted to just touch bases on several different topics that we will be talking about in the days to come. And they will be more intentional, I think, moving forward. But we really just wanted to kind of get the essence of who we are and what we're doing out there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So talk to me about that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There's questions. People want to communicate.
There's a lot of talking. How about this? If anybody has any questions or anything to say in regards to what we're talking about in this current moment, chime in and give us something to answer for you or feed into or...
You got a lot of love on there, son.
We are all... Yes. Gavin Frost. Morning. I love this. Keep this going. Your message is awesome. We are all one beyond religion, nationality, race, etc.
Yes.
We are all on the same team. Team Human and Team Earth.
Really taking the judgment out of it. Like, we live in a judgmental world, you know, and being able, and for me, it's about being judgment free and living a free, authentic, genuine, loving life, right? Like, but for you, like, I know that you have experienced a lot of judgment in your life, and I know that you have been, you know, it's been hard. You've been beat down.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also fair to say that I have been judged in a radical way, but I've also judged in a radical way.
Because that's what we do.
Right.
You know, you will attract that. You will, yes. So on the other side of that, what do you give to people now that you've experienced receiving and giving it? What's different for you today?
In the sense of judgment. I think okay, this is a loaded question, but to be laser focused, it is my desire to be a genuinely good man and to love people. To love people in the best way possible. I had to get real with myself, and what that looked like for me was taking responsibility for how judgmental I was. I could only see through the judgments when I was on a track of defying it myself. So I needed to start looking at people like they're myself. And so the best way that I have found, and still a practice that I do daily, is if I have a judgmental thought, I try to reverse my, I try to shift my eyes by recognizing 2 or 3 beautiful things about this person. I also take a moment and I recognize that whether I'm angry or upset, or it's a stranger, or it's a conversation with somebody where the judgment is in a downward rattle, right? It's calming my brain enough to, in that moment, say, this person, their anger feels like my anger. Their love feels like my love. Laughter feels like laughter to them as it does to me. And so when I can unify in a moment by recognizing literally that we are all the same. I think we hear this, and I think it's a term that's loosely thrown around. I think we say, oh, we are one, let's all do this. But I don't think that there's intentionality around actually unifying in a moment of separation. And that's the only way that I'm able to see that. Once I see that, then all of a sudden the rigidness of my heart is calmed and compassion can come forward. And I see us as having differences and being one and the same, right? And I'm only recognizing these differences because I'm struggling with something similar, right? And more so I'm triggered than anything.
Yeah.
So what about you?
For me, it's gratitude, grace, and forgiveness, or whatever's coming up. But the biggest thing is forgiving myself, because if I'm judging somebody else, typically I'm seeing something that is in someone else that is inside of me.
That's right.
And so gratitude and grace, and that helps lead me back to inclusivity, right? Because if I am in judgment, that's called division. And in my world, for years, I want everybody to be as one. I want everybody to be included. I sometimes get joked about that I collect people. And I do because I believe that everyone can bring value and everybody can find a connection or something to relate to. And that's why I operate, that way. But I can't do it from a place of frustration or judgment. Judgmental human, I get judged, I judge. And it is coming from a place of hurt. It's coming from a place of unworthiness. It's coming from insecurities.
Fear. Yeah.
Which actually is what all of that is.
Yeah.
And so, for me, if I could live in a world where judgments are going to come up, and then you give gratitude and grace, and then grace leads to compassion, and then it works easier. It works better. Look, we make it so hard. Like we really do. If you could look at somebody from the eyes of love, compassion, grace, and forgiveness, people are going to do things to you.
Yeah.
They are. But forgiveness is more for you than it is for them.
Right.
So you give that forgiveness away and you figure out how to create something new.
So, okay, so that brings a whole new relevant issue for me. It's I guess I shouldn't say an issue, but it's very relevant in my world right now, because when we are in scarcity or fear, unworthiness, those are very low vibration feelings, right? And when your vibration is super low, you attract low vibration people, low vibration experiences. Yeah. You source more of the shit, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you have gratitude when you are in a low vibration? Because I've tried, and let me tell you, gratitude when I'm in low vibration looks like an effing crazy person, because I'm like, thank you for this, thank you for that. I mean, it doesn't come from a genuine place at all, right? No. I'm low vibrating gratitude, which doesn't work. It's manic, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're in low vibration, how do you get to a place of authentic gratitude? And what do those steps look like for you?
Mm-hmm. So for me, there's a couple different ways. Meditation is one of them. Just sitting down, getting quiet, and being by myself. And the other one could look like going for a run, doing something physical to get outside of... Because really what that is, I'm hanging out in my head.
That's right.
Instead of hanging out here, I'm trying to control it. We talked about control. All of the things that continue to creep back up. Like I have a situation that happened this morning. My husband moved my keys on me.
And still managed to be here on time.
I took 12 minutes to find my keys, and I didn't want to wake him up. I'm freaking out. Believe me, I was not in gratitude of him when driving here, because he was trying to do something good. He was like putting them all in the same place so everybody can find them, except that he forgot to tell me where they were. So I'm running around trying to get here on time. And I was angry for like 10 minutes driving over here. And I just thought, you know what? Like, let it go. He was doing something good. So really talking yourself through it. It does look manic, though. It does for a hot second look like, like the steering wheel and you're like hitting it. Yeah, it looks a little bit crazy. But doing something and being aware of it. I think the biggest thing is awareness. Instead of sitting in it, doing something about it. Journaling, running, exercising, meditating. I think those are some of the ones that, if I've ever pulled anybody, that's what they say too.
So I'm very much the same. One of the things that Oh, yeah.
You keep talking, baby. You keep talking.
One of the things that I have been leaning into a lot lately is we are the only creation on the planet that in real time can close our eyes and project to a past experience. And in that moment, bring the emotion of the past experience into the current situation. Mm-hmm. We're the only people to do that. So what I have found that works for me is, I'll be really transparent. Mikey, my husband, and I had gotten into an argument, and we just weren't, like every couple on the planet does. We just weren't in alignment. So removing myself from the situation, and I closed my eyes and did some breathing exercises, and I found myself recalling a memory of the first day him and I met. And for those of you that don't know, we met on social media, and we spent about a month talking back and forth. He came here for a 2-week vacation and literally never went home. And we got married, and I have been living a very blessed life with this man since. And we have our trials and tribulations. in being able to recall the memory of what it felt like the day that I met him, and jumping out of my car and him running out of the airport, and I literally, 215 pounds of me jumped up and wrapped my legs around the waist of this man, and it felt like not a first time meeting, it felt like a remembering, right? I was remembering this missing part of me. When I remembered that memory, in an instant, I was able to come into love and connectedness, and my vibration shifted. And once my vibration shifted, I could then give authentic gratitude for this man and all of his gifts and all of the blessings he's brought into my life. And so I think it's really important that when we feel separated, when we are in a low vibration and not connected, right, that there is intention and action around being able to shift out of that. We got a question?
Yeah, so Cami Tharp says, have you ever had someone in your daily life, like work life, for instance, where the person is impossible, a work bully? It's the most difficult I've ever experienced for finding grace, such a struggle. What do you have to say about
that? Okay, so that's a little difficult for me. I've been self-employed for 17 years. And I have really been in situations where I've shared commonalities more so than anything, but I have had bullies in my world, and I've had bully situations with my best friends and my family. I have bullied, right? But I think if you are in a situation where someone is consistently just difficult and consistently bullying you, first and foremost, if it is a situation where you're actually being bullied, I think it's massively important for you to voice what you're willing to put up with, to voice the respect that you demand, right? So if that's the biggest one. The second one is, if you are in a negative experience, the filter in which you see this experience and see this person is with a negative lens. So we have to be able to shift out of negativity into positivity, and I believe truly the only way to do that is gratitude and compassion and finding oneness. If you can connect yourself to this person who is separated from you and recognize that their behavior is a call for love.
A call for help.
Yeah.
It's a call for help. There's something about that person. I know it's hard, Cami. One of the things I would suggest, because I do have experience, I've not been self-employed for a very long time, and oh man, there are some people who are just different than you. And one of them I can think of in particular, if I can just see into their gifts, what is good about them? What is great about them? I find it, speak into that. This person's really good at connecting. This person's really good at the details, whatever it is. And then move yourself out of the way so that you can go create with this person, create a connection. Even if it isn't like super deep, just find a way to speak into an attribute of this person that is the truth for them, who they are showing up as for you. And it may not fix the situation, but again, we're dealing with hurt people, so therefore they're projecting a lot of the times and gonna hurt you too. And so that's what I did with this person. I was very frustrated at work, and it was actually causing me to not perform the way that I wanted to. And I was just creating drama around it, right? Don't be the one that creates the drama. Be the one that finds a solution. Be the cause of something good in the workplace, and that's a whole nother episode that we can get into, is the culture that we live in. You are very much responsible and a contributor to the culture that is created at work, in our homes, in our tribes, and all the places and all the circles that we show up. We are responsible for a part of what that culture is doing.
What are some examples you could give her to use to be able to...
Yeah, that's a great point. So Mikey was just asking for some examples, or I guess it would be easier to say, what did that look like for you? What did that sound like for you?
It sounds like appreciation. So for this person, I really appreciate that you took care of that report for me. You knew that I was supposed to do it. It didn't look like the way that I would have done it. And that's the control thing, right? Like, I so appreciated that person took care of that report. I appreciate the fact that you show up to work every day. And therefore, that means I don't have to do your work and cover for you every time. And the other part of it is, so it's like enrolling them into their greatness. This person was very detail oriented, and I'm not. That is not the gift that God gave me. I see big picture. That's why I married up, because he is the detail oriented guy. This person had that, and I just kept speaking into, I love it when you do that. Thank you for doing that. It really helps build a team, and we can plug in our gifts in those certain areas, because you know what, man, I don't have that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I had a similar moment just with my mom. You know, her and I were having a political conversation, and we have a lot of similarities and we have some differences. And the differences that we were having inside of politics, which really it's not even a thing I think families or friends should talk about. But inside of that, it was me stating the intention that I have for our relationship. So when I felt the separation, it was, okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now. So taking a pause and recognizing, I love this woman. She's my best friend, and my intention is never to hurt your feelings. It's never to make you feel not heard. My intention is to always have a loving and supporting relationship with you. Yeah. So with somebody in the workplace that can say, hey, I know that we're all humans and we're flawed. I'm flawed, you're flawed. We're both going to make mistakes, but my intention is to have a respectful, winning relationship with you. And so with our past and with our experiences, how can I help you to see me in this way? How can I help to create experiences that allow for this relationship to come forward, and allow the person to answer and source the solution? Because when they source a solution, they take ownership for it. Right, yeah. It's theirs. That's awesome.
Feeding the culture. That's right.
Let's see, Jennifer says, love all of this. If it doesn't directly affect me or my children, what other people do in their lives, career, beliefs, looks, etc., has no bearing on me and my journey, so I don't judge others. People have judged me a lot over the past few years in ways that have disappointed and frankly disgusted me. I know I'm a good person with flaws, but I don't judge others, and I choose to see the good. So this was, I have similar feelings to this comment, right? Yeah. And I think it's only fair that when we are saying things like, I don't judge, that is a finished thought. It's a finished statement. Truth is, you do judge. You judge all the time. I judge all the time. You judge all the time. Mm-hmm. Every single person judges all the time. So don't share the judge. This is a beautiful statement in a beautiful place, and I encourage you, because I know you so well, Jennifer, take it a step further. Get into the nitty gritty of where your judgments live, because it's putting light into the darkest areas of our life that allows us to expand. Right? So we have to be willing to go there. And having a relationship with a God of my understanding, sometimes that sounds like me praying and asking for my angels and God to step in and highlight those areas. Mm-hmm. Bring me experiences where my judgment can persist so that I may be aware to them. Because some of my darkest judgments are parts of me that I'll never see, or I have a really hard time seeing. Mm-hmm. So this is awesome. True statement. I choose to see the good.
Thank you, because a lot of people live in the drama of the judgment and walking around talking about people and all of their stuff. Look, their stuff is their stuff, and it's their part of their journey, and it's where they're going, and they have to have the stuff in order to make sense of the failure of what's possible, right? Like the depth, the deepest, darkest places, like you said. And that is, people judge your darkest, deepest place, and at the end of the day, that's actually where you're getting all the fulfillment and understanding and enlightenment, because there's only one place to go from there.
Yeah, that's right. So I think we can probably close up for today. I think it would be fair to say that the human experience is all about remembering. Mm-hmm. Would you agree? Yeah. It's remembering our genuine nature, which, you know, my belief and your belief is that the love of God, right? Mm-hmm. And the love of the universe and the energy that we share between, you know, all people and the oneness there. So with all of the different topics that we talked about, what would be a hope for everyone watching and the people who will watch this video this week? What would be a practice? What would be something that would allow them to get intentional around shifting some stuff?
I think for me is awareness of your giftings, right? So what are people talking about you? Like, what do they say to you? What's the feedback that you get most often?
No, that's really good.
Mm-hmm. And then taking note of that, right? And then, I don't know, put it on a card in your car, stick it to your mirror, whatever that is, because we're all going to forget. And I think there's things about you that you are providing. I'm working in a coaching setting in one of the leadership programs that I do. And I kept honing in on the value that these people are bringing to other people's lives. And it's helping them build awareness of the gift that they are to this world and who you are and what you bring. And so I think that that's a great starting point to helping them understand what they bring to the conversation, what you bring to the culture, what you bring to work, to home, your kids, your family, all of that. Who are you and what are you bringing? So start there. Comment below. If you have some of those things, we would love to know what they are and see them, and we can kind of speak into some of the feedback that we got in the next episode. This is the feedback that I get. I'm going to share this quick story, and I'm going to throw my friend Amy McIntyre under the bus. But we were walking through, and she said, "I'm so excited for tonight. I can't wait to have fun." And she looks at my husband, "Because you're so fun." Like she can't wait to have fun with him. And I'm like, "Well, hold on a minute. I thought that I was fun." She was like, "Oh, no, I don't come to you for the fun. I come to you when I want to be loved on and when I want to get my ass kicked." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. I'm fun." And so I really was jokingly victimized by this, because I'm like, I know how to have fun. And she's like, "You know how to have fun." She's like, "You're just not the person that instigates it typically very easily." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, that makes sense." And the truth of it is, and I think the same is true for you, is true. I'm the more serious, more loving, more depth. I go down. My husband is the funny one. He's the one that literally can light up a room and bring this authentic, loving joy. And then I get to piggyback off of that.
Yeah, I was literally sitting here thinking, I know exactly how I sourced her. Exactly. How my husband and me sourced you and Danny is simply because the dynamic is parallel. Is it not?
That is so true.
Mikey has such an easier time than I do just bringing joy all the time, creating joy everywhere he goes.
That's right.
And I create fucking reality checks.
Probably why people get mad at us.
Right, and why people are like, "Is today the day
Yes.
where I actually spend time with this bitch? Because I'm not sure if I'm ready for this rude awakening."
It's so heavy.
Yeah, but I have people like that in my world for me, I think for me it's, and this might be a little bit of a projection, it's just watch. Just watch. Be aware of the way that you choose to show up in every experience. Watch the way that people respond to you. I recognized as of recently that a lot of people respond to me with a nervousness, and it's because I have created controlling experiences where they don't get to show up authentically because they're afraid of what I might think. They're afraid of me seeing
Expectation. Rewind.
Right. They're afraid of being seen as less than. And the genuine part of my heart sees and desires to see all people
in their greatness.
That's right. And I fight for that. So this
I'm one and the same there. Yeah.
Girl. So this week I would say,
sorry for all those
back.
I ever made feel that way.
We're not going there. We'll be going for
That's a whole
5 more
other
hours.
conversation.
Sit back and just be aware. Watch your behavior. Watch the behavior of others. When you feel triggered, when you don't like the feedback that you're getting in discovery with the people in your world, see it as neutral, breathe through it, and thank it for being a teacher. Our greatest teachers are oftentimes the truest discrepancies that we have, and so I think show a little compassion, and my projection is don't try to fix it all at once.
That's right. Little things.
I try to fix
one
the
foot
whole...
in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, one step. Because actually one step is the first opportunity to the breakthrough, right? Taking the one step. And so first, I want to say thank you for hanging out with us this morning, being with us. It's a true joy to spend my Sunday morning with you and to get to see all the comments and to feel like I'm making a difference, right? I want to, that is my one true desire, is to be able to help people in this life live their best life. And I think I've said that before. So I'm excited to be with you guys again.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much for spending part of your morning with us. Expect to see us in much bigger ways with lots of different people. We're going to be talking about transformation. We're going to be sharing stories that people have gone through and come out on the other side, or maybe they're even still in the funk, right? And we're also going to be doing some interviews. We've got one coming up with one of my favorite spiritualists on the planet. I can't wait to name drop it. It's coming.
Not today, sir.
It's coming.
Not today.
Before we check out, I want to set the intention of giving you guys a universal message. I pull cards and I pull them often. So I'm just gonna take a moment and tune in to everyone, and we'll see what gets pulled. Oh my gosh. So the card for today: energy flows where my intention goes.
That's right.
Which is quite literally everything
that
we
we've been talking about.
Listen, I'm about to just have this all day with me. Energy flows where my intention goes. So set your intention to the heart, and I think you'll
High vibrations.
You'll have a great week.
Have a wonderful week,
See you
guys. And see you
guys.
soon.
The Truth Revival lives.